Do you know who you're voting for this election?
Because I don't, and the election is around the corner, so it is time to figure it out.
This is the Are We Wrong podcast.
I'm A.I. Norman.
I'm Demi Chang, and we're comedians in Austin, Texas.
We've decided that we're the best people to help you figure out who you should vote for.
Every episode, we have a guest come on to help us think through an election issue.
We'll then each say who we think we'll be aligned with on that issue.
Then we'll explore each topic in detail and be as candid as you wish you could.
And then we'll vote again to see who we think we align with after the discussion.
Are we wrong? Are we right? Let us know in the comments what you think we got right or wrong. Do you have ADHD?
Mm-hmm. I was the
one of the OG
stare out the window kid for forever.
But maybe you were just supposed to be doing outside play, movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you one of the over-medicated kids?
I was supposed to be one of your play parties, dude.
No, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the idea
play
that
parties.
the boys are supposed to be, especially boys are supposed to be rough and tumble, playing outside, running around. Like a lot of boys struggle to really sit in these chairs and just do whatever. That was you?
So I think this is the answer. I'll answer both questions at the same time because I think I can. Was I over medicated as a kid? No. I think there was like a 1 month stretch when I was in middle school where my parents tried Adderall on me and they were like, this is not gonna fly. I also just was too young to be able to observe the effects in my mind. So I was like, it doesn't do anything. And so I just stopped. But I went to Catholic school growing up. And so I was off the charts ADHD, unruly in class.
You
couldn't pay a pen.
Still while the priests did whatever.
Well, they did what they were doing. It was nuns. But their punishment,
probably safer for you.
That's hot.
their punishment for not paying attention was to keep you inside during recess. So I think that just compounded the problem.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
It's so stupid. So the hour that would have
You literally
tuckered
needed
me
to
out.
touch grass.
Yeah.
And get the zoomies out and everything.
Yeah, they just would take that and then you'd become insane because of that. So I think that has created that had a lot of unintentional downstream effects in my life where I've just kind of just I just let myself out of the house a lot. When I was working from home for 7 years and I would just leave in the middle of the day, just go walk around. And so I don't think they appreciated me going outside to touch grass.
Well, you needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, it's all the Catholics' fault.
Yeah, that makes me sad for little Joe.
I'm fine. I'm doing good.
Well, now you're thinking about.
Yeah.
But now you just told us a minute ago that you were considering becoming addicted to Adderall.
Oh, I'm not considering it. It's just kind of what's happening right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. I cycled my way through all the different ones. So after I got out of the military, I realized I probably have ADHD because thanks to TikTok, and probably autistic as well.
Also thanks to TikTok.
Yeah, also thanks to TikTok.
And trans.
And trains. Love trains. Planes, automobiles. So then I was working my way up. My friend, who I call my life Sherpa, who teaches me about all the drugs, she loves Vyvanse. So she's like, Vyvanse is the best shit. But then the psychiatrist I had at the time wouldn't just give me Vyvanse. She's like, you have to work your way through all the other ones. So I tried Ritalin, Concerta, Adderall XR, Vyvanse, and some other one that I can't remember the name of. Have you tried the other ones?
I have. I've been on Concerta before. I've never done Ritalin. I remember not having a great time on Concerta. I remember Concerta made me insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't like Concerta. I like Ritalin.
What really bothers me about the Adderall drug companies, just the way they've got it into everyone's mind is this. I got into a huge argument on TikTok because I had this video of me and Aaron Patrick talking about Adderall and it went viral. And it was us just being if you do Adderall for a long enough period of time, we were talking about abusing it, but we're if you just do it for a long enough time, you will lose your mind. It's just inevitable. So it's what's going to happen. If you do it all day,
Well, it's literally
every
speed.
day.
So.
Yeah.
It's what's going to happen.
Mommy's little helper.
And all these TikTok kids were just going at us, going, you're demonizing the medication that's literally life-saving for me.
It's my personality.
They think so much is literally life-saving. It's get over yourselves.
It's insane because I literally, that's what I responded.
You weren't all gonna die if you'd been born 40 years ago.
So I went to war with these people where there was one kid that was like, oh yeah, it's life-saving. I'm like, I said that, how is it life-saving? Then there's one girl who's like, I'm on it every day, it changed my life. Looked on her profile, saw 3 kids. I was like, well, did you take it during the course of the pregnancies? And then she deleted her account. Unsurprising.
Or blocked you or whatever.
But the thing is, what they always tell you, and this is what drives me crazy, is they're like, well, for people with ADD it doesn't have the meth-like effect. It really calms you down. And I do feel calm and relaxed and focused, but that's not the only thing that you feel.
Yeah.
Like you feel that for a little bit when you're dialed in, but sometimes you feel fucking geeked out. And then inevitably you feel the come down.
Yeah.
And what they tell you to do to avoid the come down is to dose again at the end of the day. And you're like,
How do you
okay.
sleep?
I've seen so many good arguments about this where on the other side, they're like, hey, there's a huge problem where people who actually need the medication can't get it, which is true. That's what's happening. But on the other side, there's like kids who don't need it that are doing it, and it can ruin your life so
It
quick.
can help them in the shorter term get through school. And I know there's lots of kids who do that where, especially like, you know, Indian, various Asian kinds of kids who are in these difficult programs who take it for years of their school. That's the only way they get through those programs. And then they just kind of stop taking it after that.
I wish I knew about, like, I wasn't even allowed to drink coffee in school. I would have been a much better Asian. I was falling asleep in class, no caffeine, no Adderall. I took Adderall one time. That was crazy. I just remember starting to take notes on index cards for biology and like snapped out of it 6 hours later, and I had like a stack of index cards with like font that small. It's like, whoa. But yeah, I would have been a much better Asian.
I want to try Vyvanse. I haven't tried that one. I think I tried Concerta once. It was a Ritalin's kind of. What is there something that's lower than mid? I feel like that's what people mean by mid, but mid should be mid.
What do you mean?
When something's meh, right? Yeah, I feel like Ritalin's meh.
Yeah, just like Adderall's just straight up amphetamine
Adderall's
salts
which
is
is
the
what you
generic
want.
term for it, which is just like, it is straight up, it's a pure amphetamine.
And it's nice. And then
So great.
yeah, and it's
So
great,
good.
but it's crazy to give that to children. It just is crazy. I mean, I don't know. But I've also met some of these kids some of these little boys especially, who are being put on the Ritalin, and like their parents and their teachers just like did not know what to do with them, and really are like, I'm just fucking piece of kid. Just put him on these damn drugs so that he can learn anything. You know, but I don't know. Maybe it's just our whole idea of how to be educating kids is the problem. And if we would just let that boy play outside, learn a bunch of stuff, have applied teaching kind of stuff, you know, we need a different system. But wait, before we go any further, let's decide who we think we're going to vote for based on drug policy. Oh wait, Joe,
Yes.
Joe, this is Joe Begley,
Hey guys.
a comedian friend
This
of
is
ours.
Joe Begley right
This
here.
is Joe Begley.
This is me.
Post-op, hopefully. Okay. And do you want to introduce yourself in any other way besides comedian and TikTok provocateur?
Yeah, I guess comedian's probably the easiest term. I have a podcast that Ariel's done twice, crushed both times. The first time we made a lot of people very upset, which was pretty fun. Nice. Always good to trigger the libs, but we had a great time. It was awesome. And yeah,
What's your podcast called?
It's called Shangri-La, and I shut it down for the last month because I felt like I needed to take it in a different direction. We're coming back this week, maybe after this. I might go film it after this. We'll see.
So Joe Begley, and then we're gonna vote on who we all think we will be most aligned with in terms of drug policy in the U.S. Wait, I gotta think. Who am I voting for?
Yeah, I don't.
Pretty easy for me, I think. I'm going.
Yeah,
I guess maybe this will be more.
give me shrooms. Come
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Democrats will give us more drugs.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Make America Portland again. No, I'm just kidding. Not everything, just the drugs.
I feel like it's going to be more complicated than it seems because.
By the way, we're talking about drugs as in fun drug policy, not in terms of
The opioid.
and fun drugs, but including what to do with kids and whatever, but not so much in terms
prescription
of
drugs and stuff like that.
Well, I guess because I just don't. When it comes to I want the kids to be healthy. Maybe I'm just thinking I should vote.
They won't
this
even
way.
eat
because
vegetables.
I want the RFK policies when it comes to a lot of pharmaceutical kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I hope that creeps in.
Vaccines.
This is what I'm kind of thinking. And this is my big worry
I'm gonna
about
switch
this
my
one.
vote to Trump.
All right, I think my worry about this one is, before I've even seen it, I know we're going to be pretty much aligned on weed. Right. And I wish that the Biden administration had just already taken that step and just do it. Yeah. Just do it. But this is it. I think that the Democratic Party, along with the Republican Party, have both gotten some pretty deep ties with the pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. And I think that in particular, the legalization of a lot of psychoactive drugs like mushrooms, LSD, and MDMA are going to, number one, they can't really be patented. Different treatments with them can be patented, but it's going to undermine a lot of long-term SSRI sales and a lot of drugs that they're already selling. So I think this is one where for like weed, I'm like, yeah, I think, but for both of them, I think it's like a truly like, I can't pick either of you because I don't think either of you are gonna do the right thing when it comes to this. Like I would hope RFK would whisper in this guy's fucking ear and go like, enough, but is he even listening? Because he didn't really seem to be listening to RFK at that debate at all.
He's hard to listen to sometimes. He's got that impediment.
Dude, he is tough to listen to.
It's better on Instagram because you got captions, I will say, that helps people. Yeah, okay, so let's go through what we want to do. So marijuana-wise, I think we all just want it to be completely legal everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't see what it's hurting. And I grew up, I didn't smoke in high school. Well, okay, there was this one time. Or college, I joined the military, so I couldn't. And then afterward, like literally the day I got my DD-214, which is like the elf sock. Like, Debbie is a free elf.
Oh, it's the discharge papers?
Yeah, the discharge papers. I went to a dispensary. And I was in California at the time, so I've never had burner phones, I've never bought stuff from a dealer, I've always just walked into a brightly lit
Most of us didn't have burner phones to just buy it, just so you know. That's if you are a dealer.
Well, if I was entrepreneurial, I would have been selling it, but I wasn't. So yeah, you just walk in, someone's like, hey, my name's Jake, I'm your bud tender. And then like someone who looks like you maybe, and then they help you find whatever this beautifully packaged stuff. And I don't love it. Like, I don't like smoke a lot. I take edibles occasionally, but I don't see what the harm is.
Well, let's go a couple harms then. One thing that I think that people need, we do need some regulation, because I know that in California in particular, and it's probably most places that are growing a lot of weed, there's a big problem. I don't remember the specifics, but I know there's a big problem with like the runoff and stuff that's actually like really polluting around there, so that local residents and people are complaining about like the consequences
from the
it's
weed
kind
farms?
of the same way once avocados are popular or almonds, like California just starts like running the land over with whatever is making all this money. And there's always unintended consequences, because we do need certain kinds of regulations. And I mean, people have to look that up. This 74-year-old weed farmer that I know sends me articles sometimes, and some of them have been about like what the legal weed, because he grows it illegally here in Texas, but what the problems with the legal weed, because it's such big business that of course you're going to wind up having people, because they want to make the most amount of money, they don't care about their environmental impact and things like that. So there's that issue, but that's just a matter of, as with all things in a capitalist society, we might need some kind of regulation on environmental, externalities.
I meant what's the harm, like the weed itself. Like, I recently found my childhood, it was like the DARE paperwork of like, fill out all the facts of why marijuana is the devil's
They
lettuce.
made us feel like marijuana and heroin all the same, I feel like in the DARE program. And that's crazy. And what I do want is for kids and adults to have access to better information about the consequences, because the weed is stronger than it used to be. The weed, it's all kinds of stuff that you might be having. We want to make sure people know the milligrams and all of that. And that's something that I think can be better with it being legal. But there are now starting to be studies kind of showing, hey, there are negative effects, especially with all the smoking. We all think of it as it's not cigarettes, but now people are getting lung cancer from smoking weed too much. And it can mess with your incentives to make your life better. You can become complacent. There are some people who do have psychotic breaks on it, very rare, but there's some people who just, who smoke it and they become more creative. And there's other people who smoke it and become really lazy. And all
Some
kinds
people
of
that smoke it freak out.
Some people freak out. Some people are doing it with, you start drinking and smoking, and then that, it leads you to all these other, and I wish, like with every topic, we could just have really like more robust and honest conversations, especially with kids and around these things, instead of it being all drugs evil. Like, all right, marijuana can really enhance some people's lives. This is the variety of experiences that you might have. Here are the studies that we have on what the consequences might be. Take your pick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I experimented. I was like 27 trying to learn my tolerance, and ultimately decided like, oh, I don't really like how my brain feels on this. I don't think I'm going to partake that often. But I feel like, because no one's holding a gun to your head. But I do understand people who have addiction issues, although marijuana isn't as addictive as some other substances. And I do know a lot of people who are stopping or trying to stop smoking now, or trying to stop using weed.
Dude, I'm surprised how many people I know that have like hit a point with weed where they're like, I've been trying to quit for like years.
Like a lot of comedians lately.
Because I could never get there. My whole thing was like, weed just, in terms of like the type of guy that I come off as, like the long hair and the, hey man, it just kind of, to me, it always made sense. I was like, I'll be a pothead. Like that's what I'm gonna be, probably. And then I smoked it and I was like, oh, I'll be the guy that like smokes weed in high school. This is cool. And then like, I just had got to college and I was like, oh, this scares the shit out of me. Every time I do it, I freak out. And for like years, for literally 4 or 5 years, I would try to smoke weed and try to keep up. And then just every time I would do it, would genuinely panic and not be able to. I remember like smoking a bong in my buddy's dorm room and having like what would best be described as like a schizophrenic episode. And then I figured this out. Like I kind of looked into it. And I'm like, there's a certain percentage of the population that when you smoke weed, you get like such an intense reaction that it's equivalent to like experiencing temporary psychosis, which is what happens to me. Every time I smoke weed, it's like it's the only drug where I smoke it and I'm like, there's no me left there, man. I just
when you smoke
panic.
meth, you're still you, but faster. When you smoke crack, you're you, but happy.
Yeah, how many things have you?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, truly, like, I'm like,
It's really fun to smoke, I hear.
Adderall, mushrooms, Klonopin, cocaine. I'm always like, I feel like just like an enhanced in some way version of me. But on weed, I'm just like, I think the anxiety just gets so bad that I'm like, you know what, man? I don't.
Yeah, I do
this is
not
not.
like-
Yeah, everyone has to learn which drugs work for them and which don't.
I did not try cocaine until I moved to Austin.
It's probably been said a lot.
Yeah, but I didn't like it, and my partner and a lot of people
Probably
were like,
bad cocaine.
well, people were like, you just didn't have enough, and I'm like, I think because I like the ADHD. Sometimes it's like, oh, I just feel more. I got sleepy both times.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's a really bad coke
But I just
floating
didn't
around.
like it. I didn't like how it felt physically. I didn't.
Yeah, because probably not much of it is coke, is what I'm saying. It's like people
I mean,
really
everyone else around me who was
having a great time.
having a great time, and I was like, I'd rather just like drink.
I mean, Vanessa's kind of like that. Like there's a lot of drugs that don't seem to really affect her the way they affect anyone else.
Maybe
She's
they
just
breeded
kind
it
of
out
tired.
of us. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're aliens.
Asians can't. Yeah, you guys have the alcohol flush.
I don't get rid.
can't do-
I don't get
okay.
the flush.
Well, still.
Can you drink, or is
Oh
it
yeah,
like?
I drink probably too much.
Okay.
Well, and so that's the thing too. Like, there's all these policies, all kinds of jobs will drug test you and things for weed and maybe other things as well,
you're a
but not
functioning
alcohol.
alcoholic.
Yeah, and that just seems like, can we just stop? That's from a different era when we don't want anyone working for a company who smokes weed. Like, why? Lots of people. As long as can they do the job? Great, but like people are drinking so much. So, and why are we pointing to it? That's a socially acceptable thing to do.
It's like how they allow people to have smoke breaks, and then they calculated like how long you take off of work due to smoke breaks. But then you couldn't be like, I can't be like, oh, I'm going outside to play Candy Crush.
Well, what you have to do is say you're Muslim and it's time for you to pray and just take the. Well, and we should have meditation breaks. That's part of what a smoke break is a lot of time. Like, let me get away from everyone else, or maybe one person, whatever. But like, I can kind of be outside for a minute and have a moment.
Well, that was the issue with like the vapes, which is what led me to eventually like finally quitting fucking nicotine. Is like I was a long cut dipper for a while, and then I would smoke cigarettes on the weekends when I go out with my friends. And there's something about just like when you put in a dip, like a disgusting wad of chewing tobacco, you know it's bad.
Yeah.
Like you're fully aware, like this is a bad thing for me to be doing because it looks terrible, and it is. And then like when you smoke a cigarette, you're like, this is bad. It's a bad thing for me to be doing. And I have to go outside to do it, and I can't really like be around my coworkers. It's like, Zin's probably the cleanest version of nicotine, so it's just the mental side of nicotine that's the problem. The thing is, like, with the vapes, because you can smoke it inside, you never do get that meditative break. And it actually, rather than like becoming a thing that like separates you just temporarily from
Yes.
whatever you're doing, it becomes just a compulsion within that piece of
That's
your
why
life.
people really say vaping is not cool. I think a lot of people think it's because it's cotton candy. And what it really is smoking was a great device for people to, at a party, let's say you go out to the balcony. Maybe you are by yourself for a minute, but maybe it's you and the other smokers. And now you can have a chiller conversation where it's like there's not all the loud noise and everyone's trying to fuck. But now there's 2 or 3 people out here that you can have a real conversation for a little, or that kind of a vibe. Or we're going to go out and be with the weather right now. And we're all going to be cold
Yeah.
together while we huddle here and we take our little drugs together. There's a ritual to it. There's a breaking off from the group. There's a who's bad enough to kind of not take life so seriously that you're going to
And
take
then, like
that.
you're at a nightclub and you and your friends have done like a little bit of Molly and you're just peeking just a little bit too hard. You go, I'm gonna step outside, and you go outside and you have that, and like everything was panic on the inside. And you're outside with some dude that you've never met,
Yeah.
and he's just like, you're the fucking nicest guy I've ever met. What's your thing? And you're just sitting outside ripping darts
This is
with this
not
guy.
sponsored by Big Tobacco.
And the air, and the air feels good on your
Oh, it's
skin.
so
Even if you were
good.
cold before, now you're warm, but in the cool air, it's like being in a jacuzzi in the snow. I mean, yeah. And so kids, if you're going to do drugs, do them the fun way. But okay.
So in turn, basically, what we're trying, vapes are gay.
Vapes are gay. Are we all, should we outlaw them though, or just let people have them?
I'm gonna take a really unpopular stance here. I'm gonna say we should outlaw vapes, 100%.
Help people help themselves.
Because the casual nature of it is just too fucking much.
And you become addicted immediately in a
strong.
way that I don't get with cigarettes. Like unless I'm on drugs and want in that place where you want to smoke, then I never. And the next day I won't want to smoke at all. Right? The next morning it's like I'm out. But with the vape, if I smoke even one puff of a vape, I'm addicted for the rest of the night. And every 2 minutes I will have
100%.
to smoke. And you don't know how much you're smoking. There's smacks of nicotine in these things. So you just go. Cotton candy or whatever it is for you, and you don't know how much nicotine you're taking in, and it's just like all night. And then I see people immediately, because I have a thing in the morning where I don't want to smoke, but with the vapes, there's a lot of people who then just become addicted all day, every day.
Yeah.
I never got into nicotine, and I don't know. Vaping has always been so weird. I'm like, there's hardware involved. It's even like in the Marine Corps, I was surprised because I'm a try everything once, try anything once type
Yeah.
of person. The dip, everyone was dipping, and I just couldn't. I think I was afraid I would be the person who just projectile
Threw up.
vomits when you put the lip in, pack the lip in. But I have smoked in the field. Like I call myself a house cat. I didn't go out a lot, but it is true when it's like you're freezing and then you're just like, oh, we're just gonna smoke a little menthol.
A
in the
fire
corner.
escape,
Yeah.
smoke, in like in the Northeast anywhere, and that kind of vibe when you're. But yeah, okay.
Maybe
So
I'll try a
cigarettes
Zyn.
should be back.
Throw me a Zyn. No, I'm just kidding. I want to feel a nicotine buzz. It sounds fun, but I just haven't.
It can be good. I have them just because if I want to extend my night a little bit, then the nicotine, I'll bring the vape to kind of like, but I won't smoke it until the very kind of end of the night where I'm just like, I just need a little boost, whether to drive home, but I'm tired. This is not about drinking. This is just, or, if I'm out with comics hanging and we're all smoking and whatever, then at some point toward the end of the night, if I'm dipping, then I can use the nicotine, and just every 3 minutes, I'll just smoke the nicotine, and that will kind of keep me awake a little longer.
Yeah, it's what drives me nuts about it though, is like when I have a vape in my possession, it's as soon as I put it down,
That's all you can think about.
thinking, when am I gonna
It's
just
like
pick it back
cocaine
up
in that
again?
way almost. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's crazy how weirdly addicted you get to those things.
This is one of the things where in the Austin comedy scene, aside from other reasons why I'm like, maybe this is why I haven't been doing as much comedy, because every green room, everyone's smoking something, and I'm just like, because I'm trying not to drink so much before I go up. So then I'm just like, what do I do with my
It's
hands?
hard to be a clean living comic, especially. Maybe we should all go to LA, I guess. If we
I
wanna
mean,
be.
I'll drink, but then no one else is drinking. Everyone's just
Right.
smoking, and then I just pass it to the next person because I don't like how I am in public
Yeah.
when I'm high or whatever. So then I'll be really weird, and then no one will like me.
Yes, this is the.
You've seen me.
I mean, we all
Pretty
deal with that kind
high.
of stuff in this comedy circles.
Yeah.
But okay, so what else in terms of drug policies in this country? I mean, are we thinking we should? You said you want to legalize all psychedelics, basically, plus Molly.
Well, I gotten like I remember what was the country that decriminalized everything? Was it Argentina?
Well, I think they did that in Amsterdam for a while, but there's a few
What?
countries. Yeah, all of the Netherlands, or was it just
And
Amsterdam?
how did it go? Because I remember hearing initially that it like went really well, and then I've heard other people being like, "No, it's a disaster."
Well, and also Portland or something, and he did it too. But it just kind of, because it's only one place in the middle of other places, then you've got all of the drug addicts flocking there and just doing heroin publicly in the parks.
But it
Yeah.
is nice when it's decriminalized and stuff, so they have it more like
Treatment
Netherlands and stuff.
forward.
Yeah, and it's more like, okay, this is good stuff. It's not cut
Right.
with fentanyl, and it's tested.
You can at least have clean drugs, know what they are, know
and
how
sex
much you're
workers
getting.
have health insurance.
So it seems like it's working.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah! What's the one in South America that they did too? Because I'm pretty sure it's Argentina or
Wait,
Uruguay.
Portugal's got something. Since Portugal decriminalized all drugs in 2001, they've seen dramatic drops in overdoses, HIV infection, and drug-related crime. But so they're just decriminalized. It's not like it's legal to just buy, like, oh, look, I can get, this kind of flavored cocaine.
And it's also the problem with like living in states, right? Which is like if Portland does that, there's no border between someone in Texas and someone in Portland,
Yeah.
right? So you can just send it up there and live
There was
there
a
if you're-
great migration, I think, of drug addicts to
Yeah.
Portland or Seattle, whichever city it was.
I haven't seen Portugal in the news for anything bad lately, so.
So
1970.
Uruguay from 1974 onwards has not criminalized possession of drugs. There are no quantity limits, and judges decide if the intent was personal use. So,
Where is
they're
that?
saying they're
Is that in the
decriminalizing
middle?
ownership, but selling it still selling all those things is still illegal.
It's in the central. Is that Central America? South America. South America.
But at the top of South America, northeast of South America.
What about
right?
just look up countries that have decriminalized drugs?
What
I think-
Well, this is
How does that affect
decriminalized,
the rest of the country?
but yeah. Well, they just mean they're not going to prosecute you for having possession of drugs in those. Because the way they worded that, it seems like it's still illegal to, if your intent is to sell the drugs, it's still illegal to have them.
Okay, yeah, fuck yeah, the ones we brought up: Portugal, Uruguay, Netherlands.
But it says no countries have decriminalized all drugs.
And what about legalizing? No one's selling cocaine at the store yet.
I
No
mean, my
one's-
partner was just in Netherlands.
I mean, I know a few stores, but
Oh, Czech Republic has it too. I'll tell you one wild story about the Czech Republic.
Okay.
I was sort of backpacking through Europe. We were doing the whole hostel thing, and we were in Budapest, Hungary, where drugs are crazy illegal, and so
Crazy illegal.
illegal. They're like, just do. You guys are allowed to get as drunk as you want, be f***ing reckless, have fun.
Oh wow.
But if you get caught with like even weed, you're going to jail. You're gonna be in huge trouble. And we're like, okay. Then after 2 weeks there, we took a bus to Czech Republic. And when we got there, we heard that drugs were decriminalized. We wanted to get some Molly for the night, right? We go to the front desk and we sent my friend up and we're like, just fucking use like vague language. Just be like, we want some party favors tonight. And he's like, okay, cool. So he walks out, he goes, can we get some party favors for tonight? And he goes, all right, here's the deal, guys. We have pretty good Molly for $30 a gram, and then we have really good shit for $50. And we're like, we'll take the good shit for $50. Let's go. But they sold,
he's a good salesman. He knows
they
what
sold
to do.
everything at the front desk for $50.
That's
It
awesome.
was fucking so
They
crazy.
paid $7 for it, but yeah.
Oh yeah, they're doing an insane markup, and like for us, $50 a gram for Molly
That's-
here is
that's
like
crazy.
wowza. But I mean,
Yeah, but to get it out there, that's cool.
I just wonder how it would go here, because like shit like that works. Like people are we have such a culture of like extremism and overuse, and like we want to take everything to the max.
Dependency, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like the whole rat in the cage thing, right?
Right.
They were talking about like cocaine addiction. If you give the rat the wheel, they're not going to get as addicted to it. There's just too many people in this country where it's hopeless. So you
Right.
kind of got to attack the
We need-
hopelessness problem.
We need
too.
to live in the rat, amusement park,
Yeah.
right? And instead we live in like a sad beige strip mall. So people are pressing that cocaine button as much as
Hey, it's
possible.
called Mueller. Okay. It's a very nice place you have here. Sorry.
It's like so much of the country is literally those weird strip malls. Not even like this is a cute little community, whatever. But the strip malls where it's all Helvetica, it's all beige.
Strip mallification of America. It's fucking brutal.
It's just so like why would anyone not do drugs every day? I don't know how anybody.
I mean, regular malls are in a sad state now. We need to make them fun. They're all empty now. Like, have you been to a mall recently?
I'd say let's get rid of malls.
Let's nuke them.
Nuke them.
Nuke the malls.
Raise
Nuke the
them.
strip
Salt
malls.
the ground. They were okay.
Legalize all drugs. Nuke the strip malls. Which one of? Who
Yeah, I was
supports
gonna
that?
say I'm gonna go ahead and say let's legalize. So let's legalize all the drugs.
all
And
fun drugs.
Let's do it's America. High stakes, baby. Survive. Let's do a little survival of the fittest. Legalize it all. Put American capitalism. Let's have 72-hour energy shots and bath salt
Defund
baths.
Pfizer and the cartel, baby.
Defund
Let's go.
Pfizer. Defund Pfizer.
Big pharma.
Let's do whatever drugs we actually want to do
Yeah.
instead of sucking pharma's dick.
Because mental health's the biggest thing, and big pharma's just and I don't know.
Yeah,
they make good
and,
movies.
And
though,
if
but-
some people die of addiction, let the weak die. Okay. Well, okay,
I
maybe
agree,
maybe
but-
we'll censor that.
Is this the part where we read the official positions?
Yes.
That's fine.
All right. Kamala Harris says she supports decriminalizing marijuana use and introduced a bill to federally decriminalize the drug
And she's
in
used
2019. She believes nobody should go to jail for smoking marijuana. She said at a White House roundtable on marijuana reform in March, and she urged federal agencies to act quickly on the Biden-Harris administration's directive to reassess marijuana's classification on the federal drug schedule. Great. She cited the disproportionate. Who cares? I mean, yes.
MDMA just failed they were about to pass something and then they shut it down.
Yeah, the class 1 classification for weed is
The scheduling.
insane. The Schedule 1 thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's in the same class as it's heroin. It might be
Right.
higher than heroin.
And
which is
acids,
fucking
and
nuts.
it's like there's a lot of scheduling that just needs to be redone. It's crazy. It's like the DARE program.
But the next
version
part
of-
you're about to read is where it gets real juicy. Here we go.
Okay, she touted the administration's pardoning of people with federal marijuana convictions and its call for states to pardon such convictions. Harris's stance represents a shift in her views. When she was a district attorney, her office convicted nearly 2,000 people for marijuana-related crimes.
Ooh,
interesting.
There it is.
Why she said no one should go to jail, but then if you do go to jail, I'll make sure you never get out. Okay. So she changed her views. When she ran for California Attorney General in 2010, she opposed legalizing recreational marijuana. What?
Wait, what?
She opposed it. When she was running, she decided that it would be better to be opposed to I feel like it would have only helped her get elected. She didn't have her thumb on the pulse.
What, 2010?
2010, but a lot of us were already saying it by then. I don't know.
But
By-
that's when she was Attorney General.
Yeah, so she opposed legalizing it by probably because she needed more prisoners to fight the fires. By 2019, she supported legislation and, as a presidential candidate, said she smoked marijuana and defended its recreational use. I mean, still, that is better than anybody who's ever.
So this is my problem with this, though, is saying that you've smoked something that you, like, when did you really smoke it for the first time in the last 14 years? Is that what
Right.
happened? Because I'm willing to guess that you smoked it before then.
Before you took
Right,
your
so-
prisoner slaves.
Yeah, so if you're
yeah.
willing to say something should be illegal and people should be in jail for it, but you've done it during that period, you're just saying, well, I'm just supporting the people that get caught going to jail
Right.
for it. Which is crazy.
No, I mean,
That's insane.
in her defense, if you're stupid enough to get caught, then you should be a slave in our prison systems. I see her point.
I want to see what she's like high. Just laughing more, maybe.
Yeah, can we vote for high Kamala, but like stay
Well,
high.
wait, what's the
20%.
deal with her wine drunk mom thing? Like, people say she drinks a lot of. She's like a wino or something. I feel like she'd be fun.
She feels like
Yo,
a wino. I think she just feels like one.
better person to smoke weed with.
Trump.
Yeah, but he's
Not
so
even close.
He's
Not
so
even close.
straight laced.
I know, but we all want. It's like my parents. I want to get high with them one day. I was
I've-
like, come on, Trump.
I've thought about dosing my
Juice
parents.
psychedelics,
But
me
I've heard
too.
too many stories on like Rogan and stuff about dosing your friends and how you shouldn't do it. So
You definitely shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
like
no, you
morally.
definitely shouldn't,
Okay, let's see about Trump's.
In September, Trump posted on social media that he would support a Florida ballot measure legalizing recreational marijuana use. He added he would end needless arrests and incarcerations for people who use small amounts of marijuana for personal use. He also stated his support for federal research to unlock medical uses of marijuana and the right of states to hold ballot referendums on its use. The September social media posting puts Trump in rare alignment with Harris on the issue. Rare alignment.
Is that the only one?
So supporting the ballot is great, but this is what drives me crazy about Trump, where he's like, we need to end the needless arrests for people that are doing weed, and you're like, well, what's the bill then?
Which ones are needless? Yeah. And she
Yeah.
said small amounts are fine. How much?
Yeah, how much?
Like, should
because-
we really be putting people in jail for a half ounce of weed?
No,
That's
I was going to
fucking
say
crazy.
you should be allowed to, because it's like, oh, so you're going to, I think you should be able to have at least an ounce, right? Because otherwise you're punishing people who are worse with their money. You're buying eighths at a time or quarters. This is, you know what I mean? That's a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing you're incentivizing. You should be able to just like, hey, like, let me get up the money so I can get a better deal and buy an ounce. It's sad when people, like, I used to, never mind. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, there's.
used to what? What did you do?
Yeah, snitch on yourself.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm
Tell
aware of the buying habits of people when this, and it kind of made me sad to contribute to people who really are only being able to afford tiny amounts or whatever. Because like you got to do more markup on them because it's more of your time that they're spending and whatever. But and just even the packaging around the damn thing. But you're like, you've only got $20 to get. You're willing to just get this much of. You know how people will buy crack or heroin in tiny amounts at a time because that's where the money. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that for marijuana.
Yeah.
Round up some. How about you don't smoke for 2 weeks? And then take the money you would have spent those 2 weeks buying a half an ounce instead of, you know what I mean? And you're just like, this is a cycle of poverty, but I am profiting off it. So I'll just let it happen. I mean, I would coach people sometimes. Like, why are you buying it from me this often? Anyway.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so what's
that was
the
a long
price
time ago.
if you're smoking every day versus like smoking cigarettes every day? I wonder what the price.
That's a great point.
I don't know. It depends
I've
on what state
heard
you're in.
The price of weed just nationally has crashed. Just because it's being grown.
so
There's such a
available.
heavy supply of it that it's
Yeah.
just going down, right?
Good.
Have you guys watched The Gentleman?
No.
That's good.
All right, we're running out of time.
Okay. Watch it. It's on Netflix. Guy
Okay, Kamala, so backs reforms. Biden tapped Harris to lead discussions on criminal justice and marijuana reform as his administration works to reschedule cannabis under a less strict section of the Controlled Substances Act.
What'd you do? Nothing.
Yeah. 4 years earlier, as a senator and candidate for president herself, Harris advocated for and introduced legislation to decriminalize and tax cannabis at the federal level. Well, I don't know about these taxes. All right. She also co-sponsored other marijuana-related bills in Congress, including the Marijuana and Justice Act, alongside other Democratic colleagues. Unlike Biden or Trump, Harris in 2020 advocated for removing cannabis from the CSA altogether and federally legalizing the drug. Her stance on the issue has evolved. As California's Attorney General, she opposed the 2010 ballot initiative to legalize marijuana in the state, but in the years since, her stance has greatly softened, and she has admitted to using cannabis. Okay, so we already know all that.
Of her.
You know, the one thing though about legalizing marijuana is that it will make it harder for a lot of artists to survive before they make it because they are selling those drugs right now.
Well, this
And
is
if we
this is a
legalize
crazy
them-
one. One small note on the issues with legalization, exactly what you were describing. In the state of Connecticut, when they legalized it, the state like basically sold permits for being able to sell weed, and they only did like a couple handfuls of them. So like to get these permits, you had to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so what ended up happening was the entire weed business was effectively just like handed over to mega corporations when it originally was like, you know, like if you think about it, your drug dealer is a true mom and pop business. And it's a lot of times a black-owned business. At least the ones selling me drugs were. So you're taking those people and you're putting them out of business by legalizing it, to your point.
Right.
But I think the way out is like, they always go, yeah, you know, but we need like a really safe shop selling it with like strict testing. And you're like, yeah, or we don't.
We don't.
Or like, you know, maybe we need that for like MDMA and LSD.
Yeah, but not for weed.
And heroin. Yeah, but like for weed.
We can see if there's weird
fucking
powder
let
in
'em
our
sell it.
weed. Yeah, I think so. And I'm a libertarian, I think, about a lot of it. Like anything that doesn't really need to be regulated, I don't really want. I want it to be pretty easy to do business. I hate paperwork. I hate red tape. I hate figuring out you got to go to this thing and notarize this and your taxes are like just simplify. And so, yeah, when it comes to MDMA, you probably do need some paperwork. When it comes to people selling alcohol at their show or, you know, giving weed out or selling weed and stuff or mushroom things that are natural, like I call it all lemonade stand stuff. Let them do whatever.
Do whatever you want.
As long as it's not killing people. If your product's killing people, let's regulate it, you know, if it's whatever. But if you're
I don't get the fentanyl thing, but that's...
Well, the fentanyl, that's a different, and they haven't brought it up in these things.
Like, why are you
so-
trying to kill
Fentanyl's
your
in the
customer
weed.
base?
I think there's just so many people. They figure they'll get new customers, and a lot of people are very short-term thinking when it comes to profit. So they're just like, you could make so much money right now. They're not worried about, because if you make a bunch of money selling fentanyl, then you could use that and invest in some other business and pivot. But
Just
not to advocate.
cut it with baby powder or some shit. I don't
Right, like
know.
there-
I don't know chemistry. I failed
But the
that class.
fentanyl also feels good. So that way you're getting people like
But
addicted
isn't
if they
it like
don't
one
die.
grain will kill you, like one full.
You're supposed to be careful and put the tiniest little amount, but I'm sure people are trying
Cheap
not to kill
cut.
their customers. Okay, so now let's vote again. And
Wait, we got to read the Trump one
oh,
here,
sorry,
right?
we didn't reach
Oh,
out.
I know we kind of did. Trump has repeatedly said legalizing marijuana recreationally should be left up to each individual state. He said in September he'd vote for Florida. Okay, we talked about this. He's acknowledged it's a pretty popular thing. And it's what the people want. He also backed rescheduling the drug. So we talked about the rescheduling, so that's good. He likes cannabis when used for medicinal purposes and believes the drug's health benefits should be studied further. I hope he says the same thing for psychedelics. But he also questioned marijuana's helpfulness to the people who use it, arguing without evidence that it does significant damage. So we did talk about that. His administration took several anti-marijuana actions, including rescinding an Obama-era policy that directed officials not to pursue marijuana-related prosecutions in states where the drug is legal. Oh, that's not good.
So you can still get around. Ugh.
Yeah, that's weird. All right, ready to vote?
So
Oh, shoot.
yeah, how do we do it? We all do it at the same
All
time.
right, let's. Who do you think you're most aligned with when it comes to drugs in this country?
So
Yeah, now we're all Kamala.
I'll say one thing about this. This is there's like one argument that I always see everybody putting forward. They're like, yeah, it should be a states issue, and they're like, yeah, well, let's not leave it up to the federal government. Whatever the individual states want to do, it's still bullshit if someone is getting sold into the state prison system in Alabama because that's what the state of Alabama wants to do.
Yeah,
So
right.
is Kamala a flip-floppy bitch on this issue? Absolutely. Was she a bitch as the AG? Yes. But still, the states' right horse shit on this
Yeah.
type of thing is such bullshit, and it just leads to people going to jail for stupid shit. So Kamala all day on this one.
Yeah, it's hard with illegality across state lines because, for example, I used to live in an RV. You did van life, and when you're going across state, same with like gun laws and all that stuff. It's like, oh, this was illegal here, but now we're driving here, and all of a sudden we can like go to jail because like the state. I don't know. So
Yeah,
that's-
and this thing
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
he rescinded an Obama-era policy that directed officials not to pursue related prosecutions in states where drugs are illegal. I mean, that sucks. Like, I don't want him adding to how many people are getting prosecuted for drugs. That's crazy that he went ahead and did. What? Just because it was an Obama thing? You know, remember when he was like, "I'm gonna get rid of everything Obama ever did." It's like, not everything. That's a
Can
good.
you click on that link? We don't have to cover it
Sometimes
here.
it'll just define rescinding.
Oh.
You never.
Only because
Don't you hate
this
that
was
when
the
it's
source. This was the source that we were thinking was left leaning. So.
Yeah, they do that on Wikipedia, which drives me fucking
Yeah,
crazy. Where you're like, oh yeah, this is they're like the 2016 national and then they're like the national championship game is a game.
Did you guys ever
No.
play? Did you ever play wiki hopping in school where you like try to say like, oh, I'm gonna get
So
from
nasty
Santa
at that.
Claus
So nasty
to
at it.
Kamala Harris, and then you try to.
I
find
have
links.
never tried that. That actually sounds really fun to me. Justice officials reluctant to predict new marijuana prosecutions. I don't know. This seems like a headache.
Yeah, we
so
don't
we
have to
already
get
know
into
we're
it.
voting for Kamala
Okay.
on this at this point.
Wait, can we look up one more thing? Because this is the one thing that I was trying to remember during this. What was the thing where Kim K came to the White House and asked Trump to pardon a whole bunch of nonviolent offenders, and it led to some?
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at this is one wild statistic. I read the book New Jim Crow, right?
Oh.
And they were talking about how like there's like a huge increase in incarcerations during Republican presidencies, and there's a huge uptick during the Obama administration as well. But then I looked into total number of prisoners in the U.S. prison system, and the only president that it declined under in the last 30 years was Donald Trump. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
That gave me the chills.
But
He
it's
does
fucking.
say he's done more for the black community than anyone else, but yeah, I think, is it marijuana people maybe? Oh. 3 really deserving women. I don't know if that's the same ones because I think maybe she had a number of pardons she got.
I like when celebrities use their voice for
Better than a lot of things they could be doing. Matthew Perry could have been
Businesswoman
doing
and
this
reality TV star Kim.
Wait,
Kim
but
Burnett.
so
Let's
is
flip
Trump.
those around.
Wait, but
It's,
Trump-
it should read reality TV star
I
and
don't-
kind of
her-
But
businesswoman.
Trump
Hey.
is also businessman and reality TV star.
And
That's true.
honestly, her underwear products are very popular with the girls.
Okay, the Skims. I'm about to
yeah.
resell mine because I can't fit in it.
Okay, well,
I want to look more up into the stuff that I read about the new Jim Crow thing, but I feel like we would run way over if we
yeah, we'll have to
Well,
wrap
our next
this up.
guest canceled, so.
Well, no, our next guest is due to be here in a minute.
Oh.
Okay, so Joe, where should people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Don't even go to. You know what? Let's not do.
YouTube?
Stop going to my f***ing Instagram. I'm shadow banned on there. It's driving me crazy. I just posted a stand-up clip to Reddit. It went #1 on r/standup. Fantastic. Posted on Instagram, less than 5,000 views. Posted on TikTok, 300. The shadow bans are deep. The Chinese Communist Party is coming for you. Tech censorship is coming for you. Stop going to these sites. You can see me on Reddit r/Joe Bagley. That's the best place to find me. Check me out there. All right, great.
Is that the
That's
move?
first time
Yeah.
Is that the move to just?
It's done.
be
I'm
a-
out. It's over.
Is that
We're
what we
not
should
doing
all be
it anymore.
doing? Is just being Reddit people? Because
I'm going deep on Reddit, so check out the new subreddit.
Maybe I'll get into
We are
that.
f***ing slam dunking all over these Reddit nerd comics. I'm so much better than them.
awesome.
You wanna
Yeah,
watch my
because they
stuff?
all suck and they're a bunch of
Yeah.
losers. Okay, maybe I'm gonna get on there too because TikTok and even Instagram hate me too.
And also with podcast clips, it's very nice to not just throw it at Instagram and be like, you figure out what to do with this. You go on there and just go, okay, this is a clip of us talking about drug policy, r/drug policy, r/weed smokers for Trump, and then distribute that way.
Okay.
But originally post it on your subreddit and then do it out. There's only one comic that's doing this, and he's killing it.
Who is
so
it?
it's Jeff Ackery. But I'm trying to.
I'll
pivot
know him
now.
soon because I'm gonna join y'all on there. I like
Yeah.
this.
This'll
Let's
be
get
the
on the
end
ground
there.
floor. It's a strangely ground floor kind of place because I've seen our stand up and it's horrible. And then when I have tried to post a couple things though, the men have been like, "Oh, it sucks because of this, that, or the other," and I'm like, "Okay, that's Louis C.K's favorite joke."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you guys just hate women. I don't know. So that's my only thing with the Reddit is that.
Yeah, they don't.
They
don't
think
like the
I'm
women.
woke. They think
Yeah.
you know what I'm woman, and I'm like, I'm like, guys, I'm like y'all. You know what I mean? Like we'll vibe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
100%.
stop just knee jerk hating me.
They want to. Yeah.
So very
Some of
two
the
important
incelly ones.
differentiations on there though. r/stand-up comedy is comedy for comedians, and the two people that moderate that subreddit are both comics. I've seen both their stuff. They stink, and it's truly, to quote Pusha
Cut that
T,
part out.
it's bricklayers and ball shorts coaching from the side of the ball court. It's like
Yeah.
people talking about stand-up that do it that don't know how to do it. So shut up.
Exactly.
And then, but r/stand-up comedy is just people who enjoy stand-up comedy.
Wait,
so
you
where
said that the same way both
Yeah, can you
times.
send us?
r/stand-up is
the bad
stand-up
one.
nerds bitching about stand-up
Okay,
and
that's
open
I think
mics.
the one. But
Stand-up
R says stand-up
comedy is
comedy.
for us.
All right, join the revolution. We're all getting on our stand-up comedy and
Yeah.
Didn't Reddit go public? That's a whole other.
Yeah. I have no idea.
have
We're
all kinds of.
opposed to that. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks.
Sick.
Joe.
Thank you for having me, guys. This was fun.